Hello everyone. In today's lecture, we are going to start stages for the synthesis of thyroid hormones. Before starting stages, a short recap on yesterday's lecture. We have seen histology of thyroid gland as well as thyroid hormones, their chemistry, half-life period, plasma level, potency, intensity and rapidity. So thyroid gland secretes three major hormones: T3, T4 and calcitonin, while reverse T3, that means RT3, which is secreted in very less amount. Out of T3 and T4, T4 is secreted in large quantity, that means 93% of the total, while 7% is T3. Both these hormones performs same function or same action, while difference is that only in the rapidity and intensity. That means T3 is more potent than T4 as it has less affinity for the plasma protein, so it can easily released from the plasma proteins as it has less affinity with the plasma proteins. So T3 takes very little time to release from plasma proteins, while T4 takes more time from release. So T3 acts on the target cells immediately, while T4 acts very slowly. So this is the major difference between these two hormones, T3 and T4, but their actions and functions are the same. So potency of T3 is 4 times more than that of T4, and duration of action for the T4 is 4 times more. So as talking about potency, T3 is more potent, while talking about duration of action, T4 takes more time. Talking about chemistry, T3 contains 2 tyrosine molecules and 3 iodine molecules, while T4 contains 2 tyrosine molecules and 4 iodine molecules. Rate of secretion, thyroxine or T4 has more rate, that means 80 to 90 microgram per day, while T3 has low rate than that of T4, 4 to 8 microgram per day, while RT3 secretes in very less quantity. Plasma level is 0.12 microgram per deciliter of the T3, while T4 has 8 microgram per deciliter. Both these hormones are degraded in the muscles, liver and kidneys. Half-life period, as compared to another hormones, T3 and T4 has more half-life period, while out of these two hormones, T4 has more half-life period. That means it has 7 days of half-life, while T3 has 10 to 24 hours. While synthesis of these hormones, place for the synthesis of these hormones is the follicular cavity, and this follicular cavity is present in the colloid, which is surrounding by the follicular cells, and this colloid contains thyroglobulin, which is a glycoprotein, and two essential substances which are needed for the synthesis are the tyrosine and iodine. Both of these are getting from the diet. Let's talk about the synthesis of thyroid hormone. There are 6 stages of these 6 hormones. Before start, I want to talk about score of the quizzes of last 5 to 6 lectures. Some students scores out of marks while few students scores 0 marks also. So expectation from all of you is that you have to score maximum marks, because the questions are very easy. That means some students are not watching or listening these videos carefully. We are taking too much efforts for all of you. So my request or last warning is that all of you should watch and listen these videos and score maximum marks. So let's talk about synthesis of thyroid hormones. So first stage is thyroglobulin synthesis. The thyroglobulin, which is a glycoprotein, and it is synthesized by the follicular cells. As all of you know, cells contain cellular organelles such as endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, nucleus, and protein synthesis is the main function of ribosomes and also endoplasmic reticulum, which is rough. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes on their wall, and this helps to synthesize proteins, while Golgi apparatus of the cell is responsible for the packaging and processing of these proteins which are synthesized from the ribosomes. So thyroglobulin is also the protein or glycoprotein, and it is synthesized from these follicular cells, and these follicular cells are present in the follicle or echinus of the thyroid gland. An adult thyroid gland contains 3 million of the follicles. So first stage is thyroglobulin synthesis while second is iodide trapping. Here the word is used, trapping, and why it is used it will be explained in the next slide. Why there is no iodide transport and why they use iodide trapping. Then third stage is oxidation of iodide. Fourth is transport of iodine into the follicular cavity. Fifth is iodination of tyrosine, and sixth is coupling reactions. So let's start first stage, that is thyroglobulin synthesis. Endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus in the follicular cells of the thyroid gland synthesize and secrete thyroglobulin continuously. As you remember the histological structure of thyroid gland, suppose this is follicle of the thyroid gland, and each of these follicles contains follicular cells which are cuboidal in nature, and each of these cells have endoplasmic reticulum, then Golgi apparatus. So all the organelles which are present in the cell are also present in these follicular cells. So particularly endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus plays important role in the synthesis and secretion of this thyroglobulin. Thyroglobulin molecule is a large glycoprotein containing 140 molecules of amino acid tyrosine, After synthesis, thyroglobulin is stored in the follicles. So thyroglobulin is the protein and which is processed in the Golgi apparatus, and then it will turn into glycoprotein, and this glycoprotein contains 140 molecules of tyrosine. Tyrosine is the amino acid, as all proteins are made up of the smallest unit, amino acid. So thyroglobulin contains 140 molecules of tyrosine, and after synthesis this thyroglobulin is stored in the follicles. Then what is the action of TSH on the thyroid gland? So we have seen the action of TSH is to stimulate thyroid gland for the secretion of T3 and T4 hormones. So in this stage, that means in the thyroglobulin synthesis, TSH, it increases the number, size and secretory activity of the cells of the thyroid glands. So TSH is the hormone secreted from anterior pituitary, and this hormone will act on the follicular cells, and this hormone is responsible for the increase in the number, size and secretory activity of the follicular cells. That means it indirectly helps in the thyroglobulin synthesis. So as we have seen, thyroglobulin is the glycoprotein with 140 molecules of tyrosine. These are synthesized in the ribosomes of rough endoplasmic reticulum. Then these are transported towards the Golgi apparatus for the processing and packaging. In the Golgi apparatus, and after processing and packaging in the Golgi apparatus, they are transported with the help of the secretory vesicles. That means they are packaged in the secretory vesicles and secreted by exocytosis into the colloid of thyroid follicle. So all this flow chart. So here in the diagram, this is a one follicle having follicular cells. These are the follicular cells. So let's take one cell for understanding. So this is the follicular cell. Here is the endoplasmic reticulum. This is Golgi apparatus. This is blood vessel or capillary, which are in close contact with the follicular cells for the purpose of transport of hormones after synthesis. So hormones are synthesized in these follicular cells. After synthesis, they are stored in the follicular cavity, and again they are transported in the blood for their action. So let's talk about the first stage. So endoplasmic reticulum and this Golgi apparatus are synthesized this thyroglobulin Tg continuously, and with the help of process exocytosis, this thyroglobulin is transported into the follicular cavity or the colloid. This is the follicular cavity. So this is the first stage, that is thyroglobulin synthesis. So action of this TSH in this stage is it increases thyroglobulin secretion into the follicles. because TSH is responsible for the increase in these follicular cells in number as well as size, and it also increases the secretory activity of these cells. Now second stage is iodide trapping. Here the word trapping is very important. Why here use trapping and why not use transport? So under normal circumstances, that means under normal conditions, iodine is 25 to 50 times more concentrated in the cytosol of follicular cells than in the blood plasma. So here is blood plasma, here is follicular cell. When we take diet or iodized salt, this iodide salt gets absorbed from GI tract into the blood, and from blood it is transported towards the follicular cells. So iodine is present in this blood or plasma, and this iodide is transported towards these follicular cells. But cytosol of this follicular cell contains 25 to 50 times more concentrated than the blood plasma. So under normal conditions, iodine is 25 to 50 times more concentrated in the cytosol of thyroid follicles than the blood plasma. So here more iodine is present in this cytosol, while less iodine is present in this blood. But again there is transport from blood towards follicular cells. Here in the follicular cells, gradient for the iodine is more, while gradient for the iodine is less. That means concentration of iodine in these follicular cells is more, while concentration of iodide is in the blood is very less. So there is a transport, and which is active transport, because it has to transport against the gradient. Thus iodide moves into thyroid cells against the concentration gradient. So iodine has to transport against the concentration gradient from blood plasma to the cytosol of follicular cells, and this is done with the help of iodide pump. So there is pump which is necessary to transport against the concentration gradient, and this pump is also called as NIS, that means sodium iodine symport. Why this pump is called as symporter? Because it ports sodium as well as iodine at a time, and this pump is located in the thyroid cell membrane. So let's see the diagram for this discussion. So this is blood vessel. Here the iodine concentration is less, while in this cytosol of the follicular cells iodine concentration is more. But iodide has to transport against this electrochemical gradient, and this iodide transport is with sodium. So along with this sodium iodide is transported with this pump, and this pump is called as sodium iodide symport. So like this, iodide is transported from the blood to the cytosol of the follicular cells. So what is the action of TSH in this stage? TSH increases iodide pump and iodide trapping in the follicular cells of the thyroid. That means TSH will form more pumps for this transport. Now let's talk about the third stage, that is oxidation of iodine. Only iodine is capable of combining with the tyrosine. So tyrosine will combine only with the iodine, but the cells are with the iodine. That means from blood to the cytosol of the follicular cells are transported in the form of iodide. But this iodide can't bind with the tyrosine because tyrosine combines only with iodine. So that this iodide must be oxidized to the elementary iodine. So one enzyme is there for this oxidation of iodide, and that enzyme is thyroid peroxidase. So this TPO is responsible for the oxidation of iodide into the iodine inside the follicular cells. While if this enzyme is absent or inactive, then synthesis of thyroid hormones is totally stopped. So this enzyme is very important in the synthesis of the thyroid hormones, and the enzyme is thyroid peroxidase. So first stage was the thyroglobulin synthesis, which is from ER and Golgi apparatus, and this thyroglobulin is transported with the process of exocytosis in the follicular cavity, while second stage is iodide trapping. From this blood vessel or plasma, iodide is transported with the help of this sodium, or along with this sodium, iodide is transported with this pump, that is sodium iodide symport pump. So second stage is iodide trapping. That means iodine is trapped from blood into the cytosol of follicular cavity or follicular cells. After this trapping of iodide, the tyrosine molecules can combine only with the active iodine, and this transport is of iodide. So this iodide is converted into the active iodine or elementary iodine with the help of this enzyme TPO, thyroid peroxidase. So thyroid peroxidase is the enzyme which is present in the follicular cells, and this thyroid peroxidase converts iodide into the iodine. That means the third stage is oxidation of iodide. Let's talk about fourth stage, transport of iodine into the follicular cavity. So up to the third stage there is a formation of iodine, and this iodine is oxidized from iodide with the help of enzyme TPO, that means thyroid peroxidase. So iodine is formed in the follicular cells, but this iodine is transported into the follicular cavity for the binding with the tyrosine. So from follicular cells, iodine is transported into the follicular cavity, and this transport is with the help of another pump, that is iodide chloride pump, called as a Pendrin. So here is this Pendrin. So first stage was thyroglobulin synthesis. So this is follicular cell. After thyroglobulin synthesis, thyroglobulin is transported or stored in this follicular cavity. Then second stage is iodide trapping along with this sodium, and iodide is transported against the concentration gradient. And third stage is the oxidation of the iodide. This is iodide, and this is converted in the iodine form with the help of TPO. And after the conversion of this, iodine is transported in the follicular cavity with the help of this chloride channel, and this chloride channel or pump is called as Pendrin. Now talking about fifth stage, it is iodination of the tyrosine. That means actual combination or binding of tyrosine with the iodine, not iodide. So one enzyme which is responsible for the combination or the binding of this tyrosine and iodine is iodinase. So iodinase is the enzyme which is responsible for this combination. Combination of iodine with tyrosine is known as iodination, and compound is called as iodotyrosine. Iodination process is accelerated by this enzyme, that is iodinase, and which is secreted by the follicular cells. So process is the iodination, iodine plus tyrosine, and with the help of iodinase it will form the product iodotyrosine, and this process takes place in the thyroglobulin, because iodine is transported into the follicular cavity with the help of chloride pump, and after coming into the follicular cavity, iodine gets combined with the tyrosine with the help of enzyme iodinase, and it will form product, that is iodotyrosine, and this process is called as iodination, and enzyme which is responsible for this process is iodinase. So here the action of TSH is it increases iodination of tyrosine, so it stimulates again the process of iodination. That means it indirectly helps to produce enzyme iodinase. So action of TSH is that to produce or secrete iodinase enzyme, and which is helpful for the iodination of tyrosine. So TSH indirectly increases the iodination of tyrosine. Let's talk about last process or last reaction, that is coupling reaction. Tyrosine plus iodine, it will form iodotyrosine, as it contains only one molecule of iodine, then it also called as monoiodotyrosine. This is quite confusing. Tyrosine plus one molecule of iodine, it is called as iodotyrosine, as we have seen in the last slide. But here in the iodotyrosine there is only one molecule of iodine, so it is also called as monoiodotyrosine, because only one molecule or monomolecule of the iodine. So in short it is called as MIT. When this MIT combines with another molecule of iodine, it is called as DIT. That means two molecules of iodide plus one molecule of tyrosine. So it will form diiodotyrosine, DIT. While DIT plus MIT, it will form triiodotyrone, and it contains two molecules of tyrosine and three molecules of iodine. Because MIT contains one molecule of iodine and DIT contains two molecules of iodine, that means totally there is three molecules of iodine and two molecules of tyrosine. Then talking about T4, DIT plus DIT, it will form thyroxine or T4 or tetraiodothyronine. That means it contains four molecules of iodine and two molecules of tyrosine. While MIT plus DIT is reverse T3, and which is secreted in very least amount. So this is all about synthesis or the stages of synthesis of the thyroid hormones. Here action of TSH is it increases the coupling to form hormones. While this coupling is with the help of again which enzyme, that is thyroidenase, and it helps to combine tyrosine with the iodine. So these are the stages of synthesis of thyroid hormone. So there are 6 stages. First was the thyroglobulin synthesis, second was iodide trapping, third was oxidation, fourth was iodination, fourth is the transport of iodine into the follicular cavity, while fifth one is the iodination, and which is with the help of the enzyme, that is iodinase, and last one was the coupling reaction. So these are the 6 stages for the synthesis of thyroid hormone. After synthesis of the thyroid hormones, where they are stored, as we have seen, thyroid gland is the unique gland because it stores its hormone extracellularly, that means in the follicular cavity, and this storage is about very long period, that is 4 months. These hormones can be stored in the follicular cavity along with the thyroglobulin. So storage of thyroid hormones can be stored for several months in combination with the thyroglobulin. Thyroid gland is unique in this. As we have seen, thyroid gland is unique in the 3 ways: physical way, biochemical way, and physiological way. in the physical way, this gland is the only gland which can be palpable, while other endocrine glands cannot be palpable. While talking about biochemical way, this gland is the only gland which requires iodine or iodide, that is trace element, for the secretion or the synthesis of these hormones T3 and T4. And last one way was the physiological, as this gland stores its hormone extracellularly in the follicular cavity, and this storage is for a long period of about 4 months. So this is the very unique gland. Then secretion after storage, how it is secreted. For secretion, thyroglobulin must be brought back into the follicular cells. So let us see a diagram for that. So this is a blood vessel or capillary which is very close to the follicular cells, and these follicular cells are close in contact with this capillary. Thyroglobulin synthesis takes place in this follicular cell. After thyroglobulin synthesis, it is transported into the follicular cavity. Iodide is transported into the follicular cavity, and this iodide is converted into the iodine with the help of TPO, and this iodine is transported again into the follicular cavity, and here there is combination or coupling reactions, and MIT, DIT, so this MIT, DIT, T3 and T4, that means T3 means one molecule of MIT and one molecule of DIT, while T4 is two molecules of DIT. These various coupling reactions are takes place in this follicular cavity. That means hormone is stored in this follicular cavity for about 4 months, but again this hormone is transported into the blood. So for the secretion or the transport, so let's see again that slide. For secretion, thyroglobulin must be brought back into follicular cells, because here the word brought back, because thyroglobulin is secreted or synthesized in the follicular cells and transported into the follicular cavity, but this thyroglobulin must be brought back into the follicular cells by the process of endocytosis, while during transport into the follicular cavity the process was exocytosis. So for this endocytosis, pseudopodia reach out from the follicular cells and engulf thyroglobulin, which are taken up by the endocytic vesicles, and this is called as biting off. Biting off, that means follicular cells throw its pseudopodia and bites off from the follicular cavity, and with this biting off they will engulf the thyroglobulin into the follicular cells. The endocytic vesicles fuse with the lysosomes, and lysosomes release enzyme that split off the biologically active hormones. So let's understand this with the help of diagram. So here is the diagram, and we have seen all the 6 processes. First, that is thyroglobulin synthesis, second iodide trapping. Third one was the conversion of iodide into the iodine or the oxidation. Fourth one is transport of iodine with the pentane pump or chloride pump. Fifth one was the combination of the iodine with the tyrosine, that means iodination. And sixth one was the coupling reactions, that means formation of T3 and T4. So up to this we have seen in the stages for the synthesis of T3 and T4. Now after formation of this T3 and T4, next step is their transport or the secretion into the blood. So how this will happen? So T3 and T4 are stored in this follicular cavity for about 4 months. But when there is a need of this T3 and T4, it is transported through these follicular cells towards the blood. So for this transport, again there are some processes. Here these follicular cells send their pseudopodia into the follicular cavity and engulf this T3 and T4 and takes into their cytosol. After taking them in the cytosol of these follicular cells, lysosome, which split or send their enzymes into this vesicle, that is endocytic vesicle, and enzymes of the lysosomes will start their work. So let's go to the previous slide. Lysosome release enzymes and that split of biologically active hormones T3 and T4 as well as inactive iodotyrosine, MIT and DIT. So along with this T3 and T4, this inactive iodotyrosine, that means inactive MIT and DIT, are also transported with the process endocytosis. So with the help of this endocytosis, T3, T4 and these inactive substances are transported into the cytoplasm of the follicular cells, but they have to transport into the blood. So from cytoplasm of the follicular cells, they are passed through the cell wall, and cell wall or the cell membrane is made up of lipids or bilipid layer, and as these T3 and T4 hormones, that is thyroid hormones, are very lipophilic, so that they can easily pass through the outer membrane of the follicular cells and transported finally into the blood. So here T3 and T4 are transported into the cytoplasm of the follicular cell with the help of this process endocytosis. Then lysosomes secrete their enzymes into this endocytic vesicle, and these enzymes will split this MIT, DIT, T3 and T4. But out of these, T3 and T4 are transported towards the blood, and their transport is very easy because the cell wall or the cell membrane of the follicular cell is made up of bilipid layer, and as the T3 and T4 are very lipophilic, so that they can easily pass through this cell membrane and transported into this blood. Then fate of MIT and DIT. as MIT and DIT are of no endocrine value, as there is a no importance of these MIT and DIT, they are again transported into the follicular cavity for synthesis of the more hormones. So MIT and DIT are of no endocrine value. Follicular cells contain an enzyme that is deiodinase, and that will remove iodide from MIT and DIT, and that iodide is again used for the synthesis of more hormones, that is T3 and T4. So this MIT and DIT here in the diagram, this T3 and T4 are transported through the cell membrane very easily because they are lipophilic, and so that they are easily transported into the blood. But this MIT and DIT, having no importance or endocrine point of view, they are again deionized with the help of the enzyme deiodinase. So deiodinase enzyme, which is responsible for the deionization of the MIT and DIT. So again iodine is released from this MIT and DIT, and this iodine is again used for the synthesis of T3 and T4 hormones. So this is all about the synthesis of thyroid hormones. First stage was the thyroglobulin synthesis, as this thyroglobulin is synthesized from endoplasmic reticulum as well as Golgi apparatus. After synthesis from endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi apparatus, there is processing and packaging of these proteins, and finally thyroglobulin is secreted into the follicular cavity. Then second step was the iodide trapping, as in the cytosol iodine is present in the more quantity, while in the blood it is present in the less quantity, so that iodide has to transport against the gradient, so that there is a necessity of the pump, and that pump is sodium iodide pump. So along with sodium, iodide is transported into the cytoplasm, but tyrosine binds only with the iodine, so that there must be conversion of iodide into the iodine, and for the conversion of this iodide into the iodine, there is a necessity of the enzyme TPO, thyroid peroxidase. This was the third step. In the fourth stage, transport of iodine into the follicular cavity, and this iodine is transported with the help of chloride pump. After transport of iodine into the follicular cavity, fifth stage was the iodination of the tyrosine. That means iodine combines with the tyrosine and forms the molecules iodotyrosine or monoiodotyrosine. Like that, many another coupling reactions takes place and will form DIT, T3 and T4 and RT3. After formation of this T3, T4, MIT and DIT, they are transported into the follicular cells with the process endocytosis. Then lysozyme splits this endolytic vesicle and release T3 and T4 into the cytoplasm, and T3 and T4 are easily transported into the blood through the cell membrane. As the cell membrane is made up of lipids, and T3 and T4 are very lipophilic. But the remaining residue that are MIT and DIT, these are again deionized with the help of enzyme deiodinase. After deiodination of MIT and DIT, there is again the formation of iodide, and this iodine is transported again into the follicular cavity for the reuse of formation of this MIT and DIT, T3 and T4. So iodide released from MIT and DIT are again used for the production of MIT, DIT, T3 and T4. So this is all about synthesis of the hormones of the thyroid gland, as well as their storage and as well as their transport. So these hormones T3 and T4 are stored in the follicular cavity for about 4 months. Next topic is mode of action. So this mode of action we will see in the next lecture. So before concluding today's lecture, a short recap on the stages of synthesis of the thyroid hormones. So these are the stages for the synthesis of thyroid hormone. First stage is thyroglobulin synthesis, which occurs in the follicular cells. After thyroglobulin synthesis, it is transported into the follicular cavity with the process exocytosis. While second stage is iodide trapping. Iodide trapping, the word trapping is used because iodide is to trap from less concentration towards the more concentration. That means against the gradient. So iodide is trapped from plasma into the follicular cells with the help of pump, that is sodium iodide symporter. Then third stage is oxidation of iodide. Iodide must be oxidized because tyrosine combines only with the iodine. So oxidation of iodide is one of the important process, and it requires the enzyme TPO, thyroid peroxidase. Then fourth process is transport of iodine into the follicular cavity. After the oxidation of iodine is formed, and this iodine is transported into the follicular cavity with the help of a pump, that is Pendrin pump or chloride channel. Then finally iodine is transported into the follicular cavity. Then follicular cavity contains tyrosine as well as iodine. Tyrosine is present in the thyroglobulin, as thyroglobulin is the glycoprotein which contains 140 molecules of tyrosine. So in the follicular cavity there is tyrosine also and iodine also. So this process of iodination will take place because both substances or both required substances are available in the follicular cavity. So this combination is with the help of enzyme iodinase. So fifth process is the iodination of tyrosine, which takes place with the enzyme iodinase. Iodine plus tyrosine with the help of iodinase will form iodotyrosin or MIT, that means monoiodotyrosine. Last one process is the coupling reaction. The various coupling reactions will take place in this follicular cavity and it will form MIT, DIT, T3, T4 and R T3. So out of these, T3 and T4 are transported again into the blood with the help of process endocytosis, that means from follicular cavity T3 and T4 again transported into the follicular cells, and from cells they are again transported into the blood. But remaining MIT and DIT, which is of no endocrine value, so they are again deiodinized with the help of enzyme deiodinase, and after deiodination iodine is transported and reused for the formation of thyroid hormones. So this is all about the stages for the synthesis of thyroid hormones. After stages we have seen the storage, as T3 and T4 hormones are stored extracellularly in the follicular cavity along with thyroglobulin for about 4 months. As this is very unique gland, it stores its hormone in the extracellular space, that is follicular cavity. So in this lecture we have seen various stages. So thank you for watching this video.